You're welcome. You're welcome to our channel. Welcome. It's great to have you here today. As I said before, you are welcome to this channel. My name is Mariah Alnaya and I'm your host. And yeah, it's great to have you here. Hope you had a lovely week. Thoughts. Amazing, right? Even amidst all the funny news, that we've been hearing and all that is happening in Nigeria, I hope you're still keeping faith and you're still keeping hope and you're still doing well. It's great to have you here. So what are we discussing today? I think the first thing I should do is actually apologize for not releasing a video last week. I am so sorry. A lot has happened, and even to do this video I had recorded it before but deleted it by mistake. So just know that I determined to give this out today, and that is why if not, again, your girl will have not done it, but please just forgive me. So yeah, back to what we're saying. We're supposed to round off the faith series last week, and I wanted to end with a totally different topic, something that we've not spoken about before, and that is sex on here. And the light of which I am talking about this is the first point for me, abstaining from sex until marriage. And we'll delve more into it in time, but this is just the part 1, and this is the abstaining from sex until marriage. The part 2 will have other things, other information. Just stay tuned. I don't know when that part 2 will come, because I would really like to do it to have that discussion with somebody else here with me and with you guys. So I wouldn't know when. My husband, I've been begging him to do a video with me for months now, but I don't know when that will happen or if that will happen. If not, hopefully a friend of mine would be willing to come on here, and then we would do that second talk. Okay, so for now, let's just concentrate on the one that we are doing today, which is abstinence from sex until marriage. I'm sharing 5 tips, and I'm also giving you reasons why. So firstly, who is this video for, so that we're clear? This video is for anybody, whether believer or unbeliever, whether Christian or Muslim. It's for anybody who wants to abstain from sex until marriage, who would like to pick on the brains of someone who has done it, and who has their own ups and their downs and just wants to pick on their brain. I'm going to be as real as possible, giving you my own life examples as I usually do. So get ready for too much information, and do not cringe when you hear some. Also, do not judge me. This is a no judgment zone, and if you are having sex and if it's not your decision to, and you just feel like watching, then it's fine by us in this group. It's fine, but do not judge also those who have decided to abstain. Okay, are we getting each other? We're cool. No judgment zone. Fine. Moving on, we're going to be going straight into the tips because of time. I said I'm going to share 5 tips with you, and I will give you a bonus and share reasons why you should abstain from sex until marriage. Yes, disclaimer, I am no expert in this region or area. This is just my own personal point of view, okay? And you can share yours as well. Let's go right in. So the first tip I'm going to give, if you really want to abstain from sex until marriage, is of course, determine in your heart that this is what you want to do. And whatever influences determination is usually having an understanding of it. That is the what, and having reasons to back that understanding. That is the why. So know what abstinence is and why you would want it, and it will help you to set your heart on time. Setting your heart is not just, okay, I'll give you an example. so that I'm not talking too much. When I decided to set my heart on abstinence, I was in secondary school. I wasn't even a Christian. But I just said to myself one day, maybe I was influenced by society, maybe I was influenced by my parents. I just told myself, you know what, until I get married, I am not going to, I'm not going to have sex. And I did not say, I knew that there were variations in my heart. So I did not put it as a variation, oh, it's the first man that I sleep with that I'm going to marry. Or, I didn't put any variations. It was just on the wedding night is when I'm going to have my first sex, in fact. And I wasn't a Christian or goody two shoes or anything like that. It was just a decision that I personally made and I personally wanted for myself. But as I grew older, I began to even value that decision more and it began to take more root inside of me. So that is the first thing that you have to do. You have to set your heart on doing this and on why you want to do it. And you don't give room for variations of that goal and that ambition that you have set for yourself. Okay? The second thing the second tip that I have for you is to connect with people who share a similar ambition. Now, these people can actually be, people who share a variant of that ambition or people who understand your ambition. But the most important one is that you choose a spouse or you choose a partner, the person you're going to date, who shares the exact same vision as you. And why is this important? If the person just admires or has a variance of your ambition, of this your goal to abstain from sex until marriage, if it's just a variance, then the person will let me give you an example of a variance. Just as I said in example 1, the first person that I sleep with, I will marry. That is a variance, but that is not the goal or ambition. The goal or the ambition, gongon, is that until my wedding night, before you see my body or before you see my underwear or before you see my yash, okay, that is the goal. But then variance is, okay, we've done engagement, it's just a few months to wedding, we can sleep with each other, we already have each other, we already own each other. That is not the goal. And if you have somebody like that, it is dangerous, because not setting the standard high enough is easier to fall off the bar. Just take it as that. It's easier to fall off the bar. So in your decision to choose a partner, whether you be a guy or you be a girl, you have a choice. You're not entering into any relationship by force. Make sure that you understand and you study the person well and know that this person shares a similar ambition as I do. Not that the person admires your ambition, not that the person respects your ambition. Because there are some ladies or some guys who are with partners who sleep with other people but do not touch them or do not sleep with them, and they understand because they are keeping themselves and the person not keeping himself. Not the danger in that you are developing mistrust for yourself and for that person also, and you're setting yourself up for failure. It's just a dangerous game on all fronts. Just to make your own life easier, connect with people. Those ones may have variants or they may admire your ambition or your goal to abstain. But the person that you choose to marry, choose the person that has the same or a very, very similar ambition as yours. Okay? Now, the third tip I will share with you is when you have chosen this person, when you have chosen this person that you will be spouse with, be thoroughly open with the person. Thoroughly share with the person what your idea of abstinence is. Share with the person what your idea of sex is. You're not having these discussions to stimulate the other person. You're not having them to flirt or to what they call it, release sexual tension. No, you're having them because it will help you both to understand how to set your boundaries for each other. I'll give you an example. Before I met my husband now, I had never kissed any man before. When I say these things, do not look at me, oh, Mora was a goody two shoes, kiniko. No, I had done some sexual exploration on myself by myself. So I had come to understand, or I knew that, oh, these are the things that I like, kiniko, and this is who I am, and this is what I've done, you know. On the other hand, he didn't see anything with anything wrong with kissing or, you know, or maybe hugging or cuddling. But coming from the SU background that I came from, so I told you there would be too much information, so that's why I said the other thing I said. So back to the kissing. I had not kissed any guy before. Coming from the SU background that I came from, you know, I learned from other people's experiences, and that is why this is also important, that you should try as much as possible not to play with fire, not to kiss, not to cuddle, not to do all these things. So from the onset, we had some of those boundaries set, even though we broke the kissing one. We had some of those boundaries set, and the funny part is that, you know, he could not understand the kissing part, but me, I was like, oh Jerry, we're not going to do it. And then we had other boundaries set, and then with time, you know, and want more discussion, getting to know each other more, we're setting boundaries. And even when we made mistakes or something, maybe we kissed too much or whatever, you know, we would now set a boundary afterwards. Do you get? So it is important that you are open enough, you're not shy with this person, and you can talk about, that's the tip 3 I'll give you, wherever it is, you can always, and someone that you can call to order to, someone that you can, excuse you, please, we're not doing this again. You're not afraid. Don't be afraid to lose the person, you know. Let it be such a that's my tip 3. Always be honest and open with yourself. Always be honest and open with this person. I mean, even before you met the person, I'm sure you should have been having conversations with yourself about all these things. And there are times you have to remind yourself why you're abstaining. There are times you have to remind the person to why he or she is abstaining. It's always nice when you have a bigger goal, and we're going to get to that, when you have a bigger goal in front of you for the reason why you're doing what you're doing. But yeah, tip 4 is, please don't play with fire. I mentioned part of that in tip 3. Don't play with fire. Any advice that you have heard that you can keep on how to help yourself abstain, I think you should utilize those advices. Don't play with fire. Don't think, oh, I am Voltron, I can stay in the same space as this person that I'm in a relationship with. Now I'll go into my story proper. When I started dating my husband, we dated for about 2 to 3 years. I was based in Lagos, and I was mostly a single girl living by myself. My siblings and I had an apartment that we used to stay in, but just 2 siblings then, you know. My sister was in uni and my brother barely came home, so I basically had the house to myself. And then my husband, on the other hand, lived in River State. I lived in Lagos, he lived in River State. And he was also a young guy, bachelor, single, and had his own apartment himself. Well, at some point he housed friends and all those kind of things, so he had people around, but most of the time his space was his space, unsupervised. My space was my space, unsupervised. And there were many times we saw each other in a relationship. We structured our relationship, because it was long distance. One of these days we'll talk about that, in such a way that every month or every other month we saw each other for at least 2 to 3 days. So it's either I'm closing from work on a Friday or on a holiday and I'm going to Port Harcourt, or he is taking leave because I rarely went on leave in my office anyways, or he is taking leave from his office and is traveling down to Lagos to spend, maybe 5 days or about 3 days or more. That was electricity. Maybe 5 days or about 3 days or more in Lagos with me, or that kind of thing. So we did that every month or every other month, and we had a lot of time and space unsupervised, unmonitored by anybody, and we had to be extra disciplined, to not explore, because of course we were physically attracted to each other, still very physically attracted to each other even after a year of marriage, but it helps if you don't play with fire. It would have helped if I was living with family, or if we set a boundary that, no matter what happens. Okay, so let me also say, when I used to go to Port Harcourt, when he came to Lagos, he either stayed at a friend's place or he lodged in a hotel. And when I went to Port Harcourt, I didn't have that much money now. I would either stay at a friend's place as well until that friend got married after a year, or I would stay at his place. After the friend got married, I started staying at his place, and then I would stay in a different room, or I would stay once in a while, very rarely, at his friend's that was married at his own place. So, the dynamics was that a lot of times we were together unsupervised. So we had to, it was tip 3 that helped, the fact that we had boundaries. Even when, I said, I just want to sleep with you in your bed, let's just gist together for a while, nighttime is coming, my dear, you just say, pack your kayak, go to your room, or things like that. Or by myself, I'll give myself brain, carry myself and go to my room. And even if we slept on the same bed together, we will still give ourselves brain if you're holding or cuddling or pecking, or it's getting too much, apart, or you find your way or find your square roots, So those kinds of things, not playing with fire, if you can avoid being in the same space together unsupervised, if you set boundaries, all those things help. Okay. And then the final tip that I have that summarizes everything that I've been saying is that ultimately it takes God's grace. It takes God's grace. It takes God's grace. And this is where faith comes in. So even before I really knew God, I feel like God has been actively involved in my life, in saving me, in preserving me, and I cannot take credit for everything or for most things, if I can put it that way, because yes, I may have been strict with myself, or because when I was in uni, okay, that also comes with this is also a bonus tip. When you have set your mind, try to set laws in your life, or try to set timelines in your life that help that goal. So I'm not against it, dating in uni, but when I was in uni, I told myself I wasn't going to date when I was in uni. I was just going to focus on book and have fun, and it was very helpful. I don't even know who needs this, it was super helpful. And what I used to do then is, okay, I said when I get to year 3, I'll understand myself more, I'll start dating year 3, and if I feel I'm not ready in year 3, even though so many suitors and toasters have been told, just wait till I get to year 3. When I get to year 3, I'm not ready, I said, I'm sorry, okay, I'm not still ready yet. Even with my husband, I was always sincere with myself in certain timelines that I felt I was comfortable with. I wasn't afraid that time would pass me by. I wasn't afraid that I wasn't dating as mine, because I had friends that were dating when we were in uni. But I wasn't bothered. I wasn't moved by it, honestly. So just set your own timelines for yourself already. Know when you're comfortable to do something, and then do it when you're comfortable with it. Do it with all your chest. Do it all your chest. So I just said, you know what, I'm not going to date throughout uni. And even when I had left uni, I was like, okay, so still I'm not going to marry until 2 years after working. So I just had all these timelines, and you can set your own timeline according to how you see yourself or how you think you can handle things. God will give you wisdom. Back to God's grace. Ultimately, it takes God's grace. And my reasons for abstinence, as I said, took root or developed by the time I got to know God, and by the time I got to know that this is His will for me, this is what He wants. He wants me to stay away from this until marriage. And the God that I know, His thoughts for me are of good and not of evil. His thoughts are to prosper and not to harm me. So He would never give me any instruction that would not benefit me. Moreover, my darling, my friend, my brother, whoever you are, you see, the thing about obeying God is that obeying God comes with a blessing in itself. So every time that my husband and I we're so attracted to each other, we'll remember that obeying God comes with a blessing, disobeying Him comes with a price. And it may not even be now that it will tell, it may be in the future. So it is better to obey Him. It is better to obey Him. It is better to obey Him. The Bible says that I have kept your word in my heart, so I will not sin against you. There are times when, of course, you are ovulating or something, your body is saying, I need to hold somebody. I don't know if it's only me that feels that way, but I'm sure that there are a couple of people that are very, very freaky that feel that way too. And okay, let me even remove the side of what my influence in all this matter. There are times that I could have been raped. At different times in my life, off my head 3 times that I can remember. When I was in secondary school and I went very early for one competition with a friend, and then we decided to pass one corner and they were all Abero guys. Or was it even when I was in Kano not too long ago that one doctor guy, his head just decided, it's in my book. If you want to read my book and read it, it's there. But somehow God has a way of preserving. God had a way of preserving me through it all. So why don't you just ultimately trust God with this decision that you have made? Oh God, my ambition and my goal is to abstain, and let Him help you with it. Okay? Now to the bonus tips. I've given you one bonus before, Abby. Let me just give you bonus, not bonus tips now, bonus digestion. I'm going to be sharing with you reasons why I abstained and reasons why people abstain, or you should abstain. Number one reason is you will honor God with your decision, and there's a reward for honoring Him. There's a reward for obeying Him. Okay? Number 2, this is especially for ladies, or for ladies, because you are the ones that are very emotionally attached. If you happen to break up with this brother or with this person, my dear, your heart will be very free as a butterfly, because you will know that there was no strings attached really. At the end of the day, it will not hurt as much as when you have sexually with this person, when you have sexually joined with this person. Okay, so, and that is not all. Number 3, for me especially, right, it helps me to creatively give and communicate in my relationship. So my husband is and has always been a very quiet person. I am more bubbly, but I'm still kind of reserved, So there are lots of times where we had to surprise each other in the relationship, or we had to communicate creatively, give creatively. There were lots of gifts exchange, because it's easy when you start sleeping with somebody to want to show them that you love them by giving them your body, by kissing them, by touching them, and then giving them your body. It's easy to say this is how I love you, or that can become a love language when you guys meet, especially for those in a long distance relationship. Having sex can easily become your love language. But when you remove that element, it is easy for you to understand what both of you's true love languages are, and then to act accordingly. Okay? And then another reason why it is good to abstain is because you develop some sort of strength. Okay, you develop some sort of strength, and that strength will carry you through marriage. That strength also is associated with trust. You develop some sort of trust for yourself and for this person, and this person develops a trust in you as well. I trust myself and I trust my husband so much, like I don't even know how to explain it. Do you get? Because if we could pass through that and we're still applying that, which is what I said in the beginning of the marriage, abstinence from premarital sex, we are still applying the principles now to abstinence from extramarital affairs, and those lessons never leave, which is why I also said that if it is a variant, you can have problems that the person can sleep with other people, but you are keeping yourself. So in marriage, what will happen? Do you get? And trust is a very, 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 very important ingredient in marriage. Except you don't want to marry, you just want to be playing around. But this talk is not for those that want to be playing around. Obviously, so it is abstinence from sex until you're married, right? So it is for those that want to marry and everything like that. So it helps you just develop this strength and this trust in each other. Okay? And for bonus tips, I read online, if you put it in, benefits of abstinence, there's so many, but these ones that I listed are the ones that I experienced and I can remember. You will have your own reasons. For bonus tips, if you go on web.mb or different sites, it is said that people who abstained or were celibate from sex, people who abstained from sex until marriage, they had over 20% more chances of stability in marriage. They had 20% more relationship skills, as in general relationship skills. Imagine that. They had 20% more satisfaction in marriage. Satisfaction, they were satisfied with themselves, satisfied with their marriages. You understand? So there was little room for insecurity, little room for doubting of themselves and of their partners, and all that just from abstinence. Yeah, so there were many benefits, there were many benefits to abstinence, and I think that should wrap up. I think I should just wrap up on this so that we're not taking it too long or too far. I hope that you have learned a thing or two. If we can, let's just go over the tips that I shared. What were the tips that I shared for abstinence? Number 1, set your heart on your what and your why as regards abstinence until marriage. Good. Number 2, yeah, we're on a roll. Connect with people who share a similar vision as you, and definitely choose a spouse who shares the exact same or very similar ambition as you. Not that person admires or respects your ambition, or not that person has a variation of your ambition. It is important you choose a partner that has the exact same one as you. Number 3. Okay, great, you did well. Make sure that you are open to yourself first and then to your partner about what abstinence means to you, also what sex means and what every other thing in between means, and then help both yourself and the person set boundaries according to that understanding or that knowledge that you have about each other. Make sure you share your sexual history as well. Do not be shy. Be with a person who you can be honest with and be honest with yourself. Okay? Number 4, don't play with fire. Do not play with fire. Okay? If you can avoid being in a space together unsupervised, that nobody's there with you guys, try to avoid such spaces. If you can avoid dating for long before you marry, try to avoid that, because that also causes little foxes to come into your garden. Number 5, it is ultimately done or exercised by God's grace. You cannot do anything by yourself if God's approval is not in it. And of course, you should know that it is God's will that you abstain. So He's going to put a blessing, especially when you're presented before Him. Okay? So let God be the head of and champion of your decision. Let Him guide you. Let Him guard your decision. Okay? Honor Him with your body. Honor Him with your marital bed. And He will bless you for it. And that, my friends, my darlings, is the end of our discussion today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section below. I am very, 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 very easy to talk to. What your own opinions are, what your own tips are, or even if it is a varying opinion, I want to hear from you, and I'll be looking forward to it. As I said, this is the end of our faith series. There were things that were planned and lined up for this year, but just as the year came and surprised everybody, everything is reshuffling now. So I would actually want to know, I want you to help me to decide, what next would you like me to speak on? What topics would you like me to speak on? We are supposed to go into business and Nigerian history, but I don't want to go into business yet because I want to talk about the phases of life before that. And so I would like to do that next year. Okay, when my life has really taken shape. If you know what I mean. But yeah, what would you like us to talk about? Please and please, this girl is looking forward to hearing from you. Just tell me. Let us talk about these things together. Okay? Thank you so much. I love you, and I will see you next 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye. Beautiful weekend ahead.